Guys, hello everyone. Welcome to this session where I will be talking about reading comprehension. We are starting off a brand new series where we will be discussing 25 new reading comprehension passages. All of these passages will be very close to what CAT has shown over the last few years. And hi Vishnu, good evening. Am I audible and visible clearly? Just give me a yes or no. So we'll be discussing these 25 reading comprehensions for CAT 25. Makes a lot of sense. And these reading comprehensions, what I'm doing is I'm going to be creating a sort of replicas of past reading comprehensions from CAT so that you get used to and comfortable with the different types of patterns, the questions, the genres that are appearing in your exam, so that reading comprehension is no longer a fear for all of us. Okay. So, hi guys, welcome all of you. All of you, if you have joined in, give me your name in the chat box or at least say a hi so that I know that you are able to see me. Also, if you can see me, then all you need to do is also share this session with your friends and family, people who are preparing. So, your colleagues, friends, whoever, share so that they can also join in. Remember to hit the like button because, of course, I love getting likes. And of course, I hope you have all subscribed because the subscribing is important for participating in the chat. So if you don't subscribe, then you will not be able to participate in the chat, which will make me a very unhappy person, right, guys? So make sure that you have done this, right? All right. Let's get some names in. Okay, only Vishnu has given me his name. Hi, Vishnu. Others, let's get your names also in the chat box. You can write your name and where you're from, what's your dream B school. Let me at least get to know who all are here. So, in this season of CAT 2025, the top 25 reading comprehensions, we're going to cover some very good passages. Today's passage is a very interesting one. Uh, it's a mock-up of CAT 2023 Slut 1. There was a very lovely passage on the wolves in the hills of Lozère. And that was from The Economist. And so today's passage is also from The Economist. The Economist explains, and we will take a look at this passage. Okay. So let's not waste any time. Let's get started. Here is your passage. Without much further ado, let me introduce myself. My name is Abhilasha. And of course, I'm your VRC mentor. I will be here every week, Mondays, taking this session for you and maybe more sessions also. Right? Let's get started. Okay, so here is your first reading comprehension based on CAT 2023, Slot 1, The Wolves of Lozère. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to read this page and then I'll discuss this and then we'll go to the next page. Okay? All right. Let's do this. Your 2 minutes begin now. All right, guys, I hope you have read the passage till now. Let me quickly take you through this passage and we'll take it forward. So, workers at poultry and fur farms in Finland will receive vaccines against bird flu. Okay, so there are people who are working at poultry and fur farms in Finland and they're going to get vaccines against bird flu. Why are people getting this vaccine? 14 other EU countries have signed up to procure bird flu vaccines through a program set up by the European Commission. So the question is, so why are countries vaccinating people against bird flu? If it is the birds that are getting this flu, why do people need to be vaccinated? Now, let's understand it. The usual carriers are wild waterfowl. When these birds migrate, so does the virus. So the wild waterfowl goes from one place to another, the virus also goes. It is easily transmitted to domestic poultry and is highly contagious and deadly. So chickens in your house, the hens and chickens, they get it very quickly from the waterfowl and it is deadly. So they die. Usually it is rare for bird flu to infect mammals. So it's very rare. It's hardly ever that the bird flu will infect the mammals, including humans. But this current strain H5N1 has infected hundreds of mammals. It's been found in dairy herds in at least 12 American states. Now, if the mammals are infected, the possibility is that the virus is mutating. So, therefore, it could jump to humans also much more easily. Now, in the nearly 3 decades since H5N1 was first detected, at least 900 people are known to have been infected. And this has happened due to contact with infected birds. And half of them have died. All these people worked on dairy and poultry farms and the symptoms were mild. So they had eye infection and respiratory symptoms and so on. Now, experts are concerned about this outbreak in mammals and they've highlighted gaps in the surveillance of H5N1. So it's not being tested. Testing of wastewater in America shows that outbreaks are going undetected. So even if it is spreading, people are not able to find it. And in early May, the Food and Drug Administration found that 20% of milk samples from stores across America had H5N1. Now, pasteurization kills it, but that means those animals had H5N1. Now, unlike domestic poultry, cows have milder symptoms, so you cannot spot it. So, farm workers in America who feel ill may go unnoticed because it's just like a flu. And the farm workers might just be unwilling to report the symptoms because they don't want to lose the pay. So, here is a problem. Okay. All right, let's read the second part of this. Again, I'm going to give you a minute to read. Vishnu, it always makes sense to try and help yourself improve your reading speed. What you can do is practice timed reading. Okay, that's the best way of improving your reading speed. All right, let's take a minute and read this page. All right, guys, let's look at the passage here, the second part. So at the moment, experts say that the risk of H5N1 to the public is low. No cases have been detected in Finland or anywhere else. So it doesn't seem to be spreading easily between people. And two antiviral oral medications, oseltamivir and baloxazivir marboxil, are effective against the virus. So, okay, so they're working. Countries are stockpiling vaccines specific to this strain of H5N1 as a means of pandemic preparedness. They're keeping these vaccines so that they're ready. in order to respond quickly if there are signs of human to human transmission. So if the disease spreads from person to person, then they're going to take action. Finland plans to vaccinate only those workers at greatest risk in an effort to prevent the virus from evolving further. Of those, 300 will be enrolled in a study to assess how well the vaccine protects these people. More worrying, so this is a bigger worry, is the extent to which the virus has been spreading between animals undetected. So it's been spreading not just in the humans but also animals, and that's undetected. There are bird flu vaccines for domestic poultry, but they're not widely used because they're costly. They often require 2 doses and can limit the export of meats because many agreements forbid the sale of products from vaccinated animals. People don't want to eat that. Developing H5N1 vaccine for cows is challenging. Why? Because some testing must be done in labs with high level of biosecurity. Now, few labs will be able to accommodate cattle. Cows, how will you put in a lab? So even if H5N1 does not lead to a pandemic, says Megan Davis of Johns Hopkins University, the creation of more robust vaccines and surveillance system is a good dress rehearsal for the next one. So H5N1 may not be a pandemic, but it's a good preparation for the next one. So ideally, you should have more robust vaccines and a very strong surveillance system, right? All right, let's take a look at our question, the first one. So the first question pocket for us was this entire story about bird flu transmission and evolution. How did this bird flu come about? Okay, so here's your first question. According to the passage, why are scientists particularly concerned about this current H5N1 strain's presence in the mammals? Why are they worried? Okay, take a minute, give me your answers. I'm waiting. Come on, everyone. Does it indicate that the virus has already begun spreading rapidly among humans? Mammals act as permanent reservoirs for the virus, prolonging outbreaks. Each mammalian infection increases the chance of mutation, enabling human to human transmission. Or is it that mammals tend to show more severe symptoms, making the outbreaks more visible? So, why are the scientists worried about the H5N1's presence in the mammals? What is the worry? Let's get your answers, guys. I'm waiting. Come on. Quickly. All right, I started getting very feisty. Okay, I've got one answer. Okay, Samrat says C. Okay, come on, everyone. Let's get your answers in. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. It says, now the passage had very clearly said that the scientists were worried because if it is spreading to mammals, it may mutate and then it may shift to humans. So that was the problem with the bird flu, right? That it will shift to humans. And which option says that? Was option number C. Each mammalian infection increases the chance of mutation, enabling human to human transmission. And that's your correct answer. If you look at option A, it indicates that the virus has already begun spreading rapidly. That was something that was not mentioned in the passage, not the rapidly. Mammals act as permanent reservoirs was also not mentioned. This is one of your alien options for us guys, so doesn't work. Mammals tend to show more severe symptoms, making outbreaks more visible. Again, this was not really mentioned in the passage, so eliminate. So the best answer for us should be option number C. All right, yes, that is the correct answer. I hope you got that. Okay. All right, let's go to the next question. Here's question number 2. Now, this one was based on surveillance, detection, underreporting, and everything related to surveillance. And my bad, guys. Come on. I hope everybody has hit the like button. So this question says, which of the following best expresses the author's concern about the current state of the H5N1 surveillance? So he is worried that is the surveillance even happening for the H5N1, right? He is worried about this. Why is he worried? Because he had said that, you had tested the wastewater and that was showing that there was some problem, correct? So let's think about that and let's see what is the author's concern about the current state of H5N1 surveillance. Testing methods are ineffective even in countries with strong infrastructure. Underreporting by farmers and mild symptoms in animals hinder early detection. Is that the concern? Vaccination programs have led to complacency in viral tracking. Is that the concern? Or is it that the virus's visibility in wastewater proves that human infection is widespread? Which one will be the correct answer? I'm waiting for your answers, guys. So testing methods are ineffective even in countries with strong infrastructure. Well, we did not say, we could not understand this, that testing methods are ineffective from anywhere in the passage. So this is not really mentioned in the passage. So it's something that is alien to our thought. Underreporting by farmers and mild symptoms in animals hinder early detection. Yes, because detection is not happening. That is why the water is getting contaminated. So this is something that we want to worry about. Vaccination programs have led to complacency in viral tracking was not mentioned anywhere in the passage. So this is again irrelevant for us. The virus's visibility in wastewater proves that human infection, no, animal infection is widespread, not human. So therefore this is incorrect according to the passage. And so the best answer here will be option number B, which talks about the second question pocket, which was surveillance, detection and underreporting. Let's look at the third question, which is about vaccines and treatment strategy. Every part of the passage is related to certain things. Now, this third part was related to what was the vaccine all about and what were the treatment strategies all about. Okay. So let's look at the question. What is the main reason Finland is vaccinating only high-risk workers against bird flu? So why are they not doing this for everyone? Why are they only doing this for the high-risk workers? Again, this was mentioned somewhere in the passage and you had to just understand from there. Come on, guys, let's get some answers in. Okay, so I'm waiting for some answers. Oh, I have one A and I have one D. Okay, let's take a look. So, what is the main reason why Finland is vaccinating only high-risk workers? Now, if we were to go back to the passage here, the passage has very clearly said that Finland plans to vaccinate only those workers at greatest risk in an effort to prevent the virus from evolving further. So therefore, this is very clearly mentioned here that Finland does not want the virus to evolve, and that is why it is vaccinating only the high-risk workers. So therefore, there is a shortage of vaccine is incorrect. Human-to-human transmission is already spreading in isolated pockets is incorrect. That is not the reason. It aims to reduce the chance of the virus evolving further. Yes, this makes sense. Vaccinating the entire population would raise unnecessary alarm. This was not mentioned in the passage. With relation to Finland vaccinating only high risk workers. So the correct answer will be option number C, and that's your answer. Okay. I hope you guys got it. Samrat and S, both of you. All right, let's take a look at the next question. This one is about policy, trade, and practical constraints. That was the fourth question pocket for us. So why are bird flu vaccines not widely used for domestic poultry despite the availability? So it is available, these vaccines, but they're not being used. Why are they not being used even though they are available? Let's find out. They're ineffective against the current strains of H5N1. They suppress symptoms without preventing infection. They're expensive, require multiple doses, and can restrict meat exports due to trade rules. They are known to increase viral resistance and mutation rates. All right, let's look at the passage. Ruhi, no, right now we are not doing anything for CMAT beta. If we do something, we'll announce it, okay? When is CMAT? So here in the passage, now they had very clearly mentioned this also. They had said that these bird flu vaccines are very expensive and you need at least 2 doses. And because of that, the meat exports will stop because there are countries which will not take vaccinated animals. Right? So therefore, the correct answer will be option number C. Their ineffective is incorrect, they're effective. They suppress symptoms is also incorrect, and they're known to increase viral resistance was also not mentioned and not the reason why the vaccines are not being used. The only thing is, for one chicken, if you use a vaccine which is expensive, it makes no sense. Okay, so therefore C has to be the correct answer. All right, I hope you got that. Let's quickly look at the passage and look at the 4 broad areas where you would get questions from. So the first part of this passage or the first broad area where you would get questions in the passage would be on bird flu transmission and evolution. So how is it that the bird flu transmission has started and how is it that evolved? So the focus here would be on how H5N1 spreads, what is the mutation risk, and what is the risk and transmission to mammals and then humans. Now, the questions that you could get on this could be, what is the an inference question on mutation risk? You could have the scientific reasoning behind the surveillance of mammals. Why are mammals being surveyed or checked? So that, or it could have a cause effect question on zoonotic transmission, that is animal to human transmission, right? So if you're having animal to human transmission, why is it happening or what is happening? So that could have been a cause effect question. So bird flu transmission was one important question area. The second question area was the surveillance detection and underreporting, that it is being washed. There is detection that can happen or not happen and underreporting is happening. The focus would be on challenges in detecting the virus in animals and humans and what are the gaps in the monitoring system. Now the potential questions here, and we have a question, a strengthen or weaken question could have happened, how to increase the effectiveness of surveillance or how it could be, less effective. Then you could talk about what is the author's concern in this context and what would be the logical flaw in the current reporting systems. These could be possible questions that could have happened from surveillance detection and underreporting. Now, if you were to look at the third area where questions could come from, that would be vaccines and treatment strategy. The focus would be on use of vaccine and antivirals. What is the rationale behind Vaccinating only a few human groups. What is this about pandemic preparedness? What are the countries doing? So that would be again focus. Questions could have been why only certain workers are vaccinated, and that was the question that I had created for you. Policy inference, what can you infer from the policies? What would be the role of antiviral drugs versus vaccines? How would you use them? So all of those could be question pockets. Then another type of question pocket could come from policy, trade, and practical constraints. For example, why animal vaccines are not being used widely? There are problems. If you use the animal vaccines, then the animals cannot be sold. Economic and logistical barriers, implications for future preparedness. If you want to do the test for the cow, it cannot go into the lab. So how will you do it, right? So all of those are problems. Potential questions could have been, how do you evaluate the trade-offs in vaccine policy? Why are you not vaccinating the cows and poultry? What are the assumptions? What are the broader implications for global trade and preparedness? Now, these are 4 basic areas from where questions could have been asked. So when you're reading, you need to pay attention to question traps or question pockets, right? Let's quickly go to the passage and I'll show you. So when I read, what are the things that we should pay attention to? I'm just going to mark it in a different color so that you can see. Okay, let's just go with a bright blue-green. So why are the workers at poultry farms in Finland receiving vaccine against bird flu? So this, why only Finland? That could have been a question, right? Then the question could have been spoken about the wild waterfowl. Why does it mention the wild waterfowl? So that. Then it could talk about, let's say, the 900 people who are infected. Okay. And what is their relation with the dairy or poultry farm? So that could be another place. Then we could talk about the testing of wastewater in America. Again, something where you will get questions from. Okay. Then you could get questions about this example of the 20% of milk samples also. Now, these are all different places from where questions could happen. Okay. Now, again, they could talk about these medicines and why these medicines are being used. The oseltamivir and the Biloxil Marboxil, right? So you could have spoken about that. Why only 300 people are enrolled in a study? Why only those workers at greatest risk are being vaccinated? Okay, so these are question pockets. These are places where you will ask question. More worrying, the minute I saw more worrying, I wanted to ask this question. Okay, what is more worrying and why is it more worrying? That virus has been spreading undetected. And why is it worrying would be the question, right? Then why does the author mention Megan Davies? So these are all question pockets, and when you read, you must pay attention to. So I'm going to write it here. All the things that you keep in mind while you're reading. Okay. So while you're reading, keep in mind any names, any dates, okay, any data that is given. Now, name could be of person, country, whatever, of animals. Okay, these are all very important. Then if the author gives you any example, then that example becomes very important. If the author gives you an analogy, then the analogy becomes very important. Okay, analogy is the comparison. So that becomes very important. If the author gives you a quotation, so then that becomes very important. These are all places where we create questions from, where CAT creates questions from. So while you are reading, okay, you must pay attention to all of these things, right? Okay, guys. All right, we are going to stop now. If you have any questions, I'm going to come back next week and do another reading comprehension with you. This time, maybe we will try something from CAT 23 slot 2. I will keep coming back and forth and looking at different questions. Okay. All right. If you have no questions, let's stop now. If you have any doubts, you can always ask me. Career Launcher test series, which is for CAT 2025, which is curated by our wonderful IIM alumni, is available at $9.99 only. GP sir, who's an alumnus of IIM Bangalore, Shivku sir from IIM Calcutta, Jijo from IIM Calcutta, and GB, of course, from IIM Calcutta. All of them are sort of curating this test series. So do join in. You can buy it right away. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope this session was helpful. I'll come back to you next week with one more reading comprehension, fresh off the block. Of course, these are all very fresh, beautiful reading comprehension passages that I'm creating as we go along. Remember to hit like, share, and subscribe, guys. Like zarur kar dena, of course. Ab aa jati hu Hindi mein, kya karoon? So do remember to hit the like button and also share this session with your friends. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye. Adios, my amigos. Hasta la vista.